They made it look like they posted the Epstein papers, and then when you clicked on it, it played the Rick Astley song. So first of all, you think this shit is a joke?
Black people can't be racist.
Welcome back to Black Behind the Chair. I'm Peppermint Petty,
I'm Impad.
and we are two Black hairstylists who work on all textures of hair. In cosmetology school, we're taught not to talk about religion, politics, sex, and salaries. But this is what happens when Blackness meets the beauty industry. Please subscribe to our channel. We love respectful discourse. Also, leave a comment and like this video. It's a free way to support our growth. By the way, if you'd like to interact with us a different way, we also have a phone number that you can call or text. And that number is 470-713-5905. Leave your @ if you want to shout out, but you're also free to comment anonymously. That route. What's up, Impad?
Oh, just taking it day by day here in America.
Just out here existing, trying to exist
Mhm.
peacefully. No doubt. Tell me about your hair. Give me one word that describes your hair today.
Um, Probably messy because we haven't done anything. She's
Very
just
cute.
kind of there.
Just kind of there. Yeah. Still very cute. Still very cute. Yeah.
Thanks.
Literally, mine is just like existing. Like it's there. It could use some work, but I'm a lazy
Yeah,
bitch. So
I'm
no,
definitely
thank
like
you.
at that awkward phase because like this is still like here, but this is like so long.
Yes. Have you done a mullet before? Have you done that
Mhm.
yet? Okay.
Mhm. Yeah, like this my sides were
Yes.
shaved and I had like some little it was fun. It was cute.
The whiskeys. Yeah.
Mhm.
Very, very cute. All
I
right.
like
Well, so what are we talking about or not talking about behind the chair this week?
still talking about the orange guy that's there.
The mango
Yeah,
Mussolini. Yeah.
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 And I'm sure he'll be a topic of discussion even more with the whole meeting between him and Zelensky. So,
Good times. Good times.
mhm.
So, and I know that we have several things where um Elon and Trump and like all of them will be certainly topics of conversation today. I did want to reach back. If this is your first time joining us, one of the hallmarks of our podcast is it's just kind of an ongoing conversation. So I did want to reach back. I found this quote that I wanted to share. And I wanted to reach back to last week's episode where we talked about, first of all, the Republicans and Democrats being two birds of same plane or two wings, same plane. And we also had a brief conversation around biracial revolutionaries, biracial thinkers in the revolutionary community. So I found this quote that I thought it was cool, and it's by the co-founder of the NAACP, W.E.B. Du Bois, who actually was biracial. And he said, this is in 1956, okay? He said, I believe that democracy has so far disappeared in the United States that no two evils exist. There is but one evil party with two names, and it will be elected despite all I can do or say. That was in 1956. So we're not thinking of any, I mean, like our complaints, for lack of a better word, of our current situation is not a new theory, right?
Right.
And so I suppose for me, that kind of almost feels comforting that it's not new because what is that, 70 years? Almost 70 years ago that he said that.
Mhm.
Um, at some point it's just got to get too heavy, right? And I just keep every time we get together, I always say how shocked I am that when I wake up in the morning and the world's not on fire.
No, literally.
But I still have hope that one of these days I'm going to wake up and the world is on fire. Very much so like when Ferguson blew up, and I literally woke up one day and the Quick Trip was on fire and
Mhm.
people were in the streets. And I'm looking forward to seeing that again.
Yeah, that would be. I mean, that's why I was like, don't include me unless we're doing our own January
Like,
6th.
for real
Like,
shit. Like, unless we're doing real shit,
yeah. Well, and
I'll
then
be
I
at home.
heard Well, and then I heard like, and no shade to him, but like I heard Bernie Sanders, I guess, is going to like small rural towns and is like kind of educating and talking to them out there, which I'm like, hey, that's great. Why didn't we do that? I don't know, maybe like 15 years ago.
Well,
Like
yeah,
now
no,
it's
for
I,
sure.
I almost feel like, and again, not to say that he shouldn't be doing that, and not to say that people shouldn't be out there trying to educate, but I'm just like, well, why now?
Yeah.
Why do we care now?
Why did we wait until it was this big of a
Why
dumpster
did we
fire?
wait till we literally had a fascist in the White House?
Yeah. I do believe that like that work is white people's work and that they should be doing that. I also believe that at this stage of the game, if you don't know, it's because you're actively trying not to know. Like you're going out of your way to not know at this point. Like all of the signs are right in front of your face.
Literally.
Um, I was watching a video, there's tons of videos out, and we're going to share some of them today of like disgruntled um, people showing up to town hall meetings and the like. Um, I saw a video, one of those types of videos earlier today. I don't remember what state it was in, but whoever the representative was, so the commenter said something to the effect of like, I'm not a Democrat, but like what you guys are doing is hurting veterans.
Oh, that was down in Kansas, I'm pretty
Okay.
sure.
Oh God, I've said before that Kansas is the butthole of the United States, and I stand by that statement. And the representative actually got up and walked out of the meeting. He just dipped, which says a lot.
Mhm.
But I don't think that the commenter understood how much he was saying with that simple statement. Like all of this stuff going on, and you're like, well, I'm not a Democrat, but like, so I care about what's happening to the veterans, but like all this other shit, I don't, you can do whatever you want to them, but like the veterans, you need to leave us alone.
Mhm.
This is fascinating. So you're again just being willfully ignorant. You care about what you care about, and that's fine, but say that. Like say that with your chest.
Absolutely. 100%. I was just having the conversation because I'm sure you've heard the term chronically online.
Yep.
Like, I like to consider myself chronically online.
Mhm.
And so it had me ask the question, like, can you be chronically online and not know like basic politics stuff though? Like, and I know, with being online, that can be a lot of things, right? Between trends, anime. Like, there's just so much to be chronically online about. But I feel like one thing is like, you got to know a little bit about like what's going on in your own country, at least. Like, and so sometimes it bothers me when I see like content creators say that, like, oh yeah, like I'm chronically online, I know everything, blah, blah, blah. And then in the comments, some of those people will be like, okay, well, what do you think about, the current political climate? And they're like, oh, well, I just don't like to talk politics. And it's like, but you said you were chronically online. Like, you can't give me one statement on how you feel about what's going
Anything.
on.
Not literally anything.
Not anything, and you're over the age of 25? Grow
uh,
up.
yeah, literally. Literally.
Like,
Yeah. How about those egg prices?
dude, I had to buy eggs the other day and literally $10.
I put some eggs in my cart. I have like an ongoing list in my grocery app. And I put some eggs in my cart and like a week or two went by and I went to go like add something else to it and the eggs had gone up almost $2. I was
Yeah.
like, and the Mango Mussolini promised to lower prices on eggs from his first day in office. And he hasn't done that, but what he has done is make it so that all of our public health offices can't communicate to us that part of the reason that the eggs are so high is because bird flu is running rampant. But we can't, none of our agencies can talk about that.
Right. Love it here. And
Yeah.
also, we're gonna put the guy who is an anti-vaxxer and has a worm in his head in charge of like all the Department of Health stuff, right?
Seems like it makes sense, right?
Yeah,
Some
like,
planet
okay,
somewhere.
all right,
Yeah.
cool.
Before we go too far, I wanted to shout out RIP to Roberta Flack too. I forgot to mention that at the top of the hour. Legendary singer. A lot of people will know her from the song that Lauryn Hill remade, "Killing Me Softly." Um, yeah, I wanted to make sure that we shouted her out while we're here too.
R.I.P.
Hey guys, it's me, Peppermint Petty, one half of the dynamic duo that is Black Behind the Chair. First of all, we want to thank you for spending your Sunday evenings with us. Okay, so before we get into the goods, the meat and potatoes of the day too, I wanted to share. Did you see the video of her name's Bree Clark? She's the first collegiate athlete to compete the biles on her floor routine.
No.
She's so cute. So you remember when Simone Biles was kicking everybody's ass and all we could talk about was, well, not we, but all the internet could talk about was how her edges weren't laid.
Mm-hmm.
She was literally shattering boundaries. So she created this move. It's called the biles. And it's something that along the lines of Sharia. Oh, the lady we talked about a couple episodes back. Her first name is Sharia. I can't remember her last name. This is terrible. Where her backflip got banned.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the same thing, right? Simone Biles created this gymnastics move, and it's just something that not a lot of people can do. And so she just competed it at an actual meet. And I saw this video and it was just so wholesome. I was like, I have to share it. So this is the moment where she realizes, so, the video went viral of her doing this move. And this is the
Mm-hmm.
moment when she realizes Simone Biles has commented like on her move. I just thought it was so sweet and wholesome.
Guess who commented?
Aw.
Twice! Yes! Like she knows I exist. And she pushed some buttons to like... Tara! Simone commented twice! Really? Yeah! What'd she say? What did she say? I'm like shaking. Oh my gosh! That's so cool! She said, congrats and closing out Black History Month. Yes! Yes, ma'am. Oh, dang. I know that's right. She knows I exist.
I love that. I just love
Yeah,
that
so
so
cute.
much. I
Also,
love that.
I miss tech, like being able to share the video now.
Hey,
Yeah,
fancy,
I see
fancy.
you. Look at you.
I'm practicing and stuff, you know.
Well, yeah.
All right, so we're gonna move into salon things. So the first thing, this client is sitting in my chair, and you just happened to like inbox me a video while I think maybe her color was processing or something. I'm like, I'm about this close to telling this lady to off. So she just was on the whole time, and she's one of my regular people.
Mm-hmm.
And when I met her, I did not realize that she was a Trump supporter. She did a really good job of like tucking that away. But the last several times I've done her hair, she's just been insufferable. So she's there the other day, and we had just like the news of the food stamp news where it's like they don't want you to be able to buy junk food with food stamps. Like
Mm-hmm.
that news was relatively new. And so now, mind you, when I met her, she had literally just been laid off from her job. And she job searched for a year and was unable to get hired before she just went ahead and retired and like started drawing her social security. So she says, well, I just don't think that you should be able to get food stamps if you don't have a job. And like, lucky for her, she's married and her husband works. And so she's able to survive without food stamps. Right.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But like I told her, like, think about all the thousands of people that are being laid off from our government right now. Those are now people. Now, the job market has already been bad. She herself just searched for a job for over a year and ended up retiring. So
Right.
now there's more people competing for those same few jobs that you didn't manage to get in the last year. And you think those people just shouldn't be allowed to eat because they can't find work? I was so blown. Like the audacity to even say that out loud. Nobody even asked you that. Why would you announce that?
Right. And like, what a weird hill to die on, too. Like, oh, well, because you're not working, you don't deserve like food. Huh?
And the other hill that they're dying on is you can't buy junk food with food stamps. So because I'm poor, I can't have potato chips with my sandwich. Like,
Right.
you
Right.
people are insane. You let billionaires spend your money doing all kinds of things. Matt Gates literally was buying prostitutes with tax money.
How many times has Trump gone golfing this year?
Literally. Literally. But you care about poor people having fruit snacks
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and ice cream.
I've always thought it was weird when people like make those statements of like, oh, well, if I give money to an unhoused person, I don't want them to spend it on drugs or alcohol. It's like, who cares? You gave them the money. Like, if that's your whole thing, then don't give them the money.
Keep it. Yeah, just
Yeah.
keep it. Yeah. No, it's super weird. Bless you.
Thank you. Yeah,
That's
it's such a weird thing.
super weird. And then my other thing is, I don't know if you saw that Kylie Jenner's hairstylist died this past week.
Mm.
Jesus Guerrero, I want to say his name is. And there was a lot of chatter on hairstylist Twitter about his family putting up a GoFundMe for his funeral. And people
Oh.
are talking about like, why isn't Kylie paying for it?
Mm-hmm.
Um, a number of things, but it just got me thinking about hairstylists and like the fact that there's very little, if any, business education in cosmetology school and zero financial education. And the industry has changed so much from when I got licensed almost 30 years ago, where being a small business, we didn't look at ourselves as small business owners, right? You worked at a commission salon, or you went and worked at a chain salon or whatever. It was no thought about business or financial planning. And I was just curious what your thoughts were around adjusting the cosmetology curriculum to include more business development and financial planning. If that's something that should be added to the curriculum, or is that just like personal responsibility? You graduate cosmetology school, you need to make sure that you get that figured out.
No, I definitely think that should be like taught in cosmetology school. Cause yeah, I remember like some of the girls that were in or some of the people that were in my class, and I just remember like, and no shade to them, but a lot of them, like right after high or cosmetology school, wanted to like rent their own spot and like, you know, dive in that way first, which if you got the money and like the clientele to do that, then by all means. But like a lot of times when you're just graduating cosmetology school, like you don't have that. So I just was like, are you like financially prepared to be, you have to buy your own products, like you have to pay rent, like there's just so much that goes into that. And then next thing you
Taxes.
know, yeah, next thing you know, you're like $30,000 in debt and you're just now opening. Like you haven't even made any of that money back yet.
Yeah,
So definitely, and I think like that kind of education would probably help a lot of young stylists not fall into like toxic contracts with salons. Like it probably make them, look at those non-competes. Not that those are really like legal anymore, but I'm sure there's some little loophole that salons are doing to make sure that that doesn't happen.
literally. Well, and I know that that bill was signed about non-competes, or the rule was changed about non-competes, but then a lot of businesses sued. So I'm not sure yet. Like the plan is to get rid of non-competes, or was. I don't know if that continues under the Trump regime.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, as far as I know, non-competes are still legal. It's
Mhm.
like they're trying to get rid of them, but it's still a thing. Yeah, super toxic.
Yeah. Well, and
But at the
even
end of the
like
day,
in COVID, I don't know about you, but like I know at the salon I worked for, we were all really worried that we weren't even going to be able to um get unemployment.
hmm
And
hmm
that was a little like worrisome. And thankfully like we did, but I
hmm
mean there were a few weeks where we were like we don't know if we are going to be able to get
hmm
unemployment.
hmm
And then what do we do?
hmm yeah, I know it's one of these industries where you can literally make $0 one day and make $1,000 the next day. Like, and
Mhm.
then if you're young and immature, it would be very easy to just blow the stack. Like, oh, I'm balling now, you
Mhm.
know.
Yeah.
So I would like to see more financial planning for sure. I definitely would like to see um, the toxic contracts between, like, just if I could just get every stylist individually and be like, no, you have the power to negotiate your contract at the very
Yeah.
least. If you're going to sign one, negotiate it. Don't just feel like you have to sign it because you were presented with it. If it
Mhm.
makes you uncomfortable, you don't have to work there. Work somewhere else.
100%. Well, and the one thing that I appreciate about my owners now is like they've never had a non-compete contract. And even the owners were like, yeah, if you don't want to work here, like, we don't want you to work here. So you're free to go. And I
Mm-hmm.
was like, yeah, like that makes so much sense.
Hello. Literally.
Yeah, it's like weird. Why would you want to keep an employee? And then also, like, you're keeping them in this toxic work environment. And because of the contract and these non competes, well, now if they want to leave, they can't work within a certain radius. So
Yeah.
then you're like screwing up their financial situation as
Especially if
well.
in a small town. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Speaking of keeping an employee that doesn't want to be there, you had put on our chart, I skipped over it accidentally, um, that one of P. Diddy's lawyers quits the defense team.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, I tried to find as much information as I could. He really didn't say like why he wanted to quit. All I saw was like he was just saying under no circumstance like can I continue to work on this case. And then I heard a rumor on TikTok. At first they were saying it was necromancy or whatever, but I think people meant necrophilia and just
Hilarious.
some people are a little illiterate. Um,
Hilarious.
but yeah, I couldn't really find anything, and I don't know if like all of his charges are just like out there listed or whatever. But
Mm,
I heard a little rumor that like apparently there's necrophilia involved, and that's why the lawyer chose to quit. But again, I don't know if that's 100% true.
mm.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. I wondered if he had started viewing tapes that were going to be entered into evidence and was
Mm,
like, oh, absolutely not. Like, it's one thing if it's consenting adults being as freaky as you want to be, like, whatever. But there have been charges of children, there have been charges of, abuse, grade. So we always talk about attorneys being like, you have to be a certain type of person to defend someone that you know is guilty.
mm-hmm.
But for me, it would have to be like, what are you guilty of? Right? Because, like, if you're guilty of like stealing from Walmart, I can defend that. I will
Mm-hmm.
defend that.
Mm-hmm.
If you're guilty of moving children from one place to the other, moving minors from one place to the other for benefit of doing illegal and inappropriate things to them, I can't defend that.
Yeah. Hey, just wanted to remind you that you don't cook a frozen pizza at 450 degrees, so stop turning your hot tool to 450 degrees. Your hair is not a frozen pizza. Thank you.
What about Bad Bobby? Bobby, is that how you say it? Bad Bobby in
Bad baby.
Alabama. Bad Baby in Alabama Bar Chris.
Yeah. I was
I,
just thinking, like, maybe it'll be my job since white people love to be in our business all the time. Like, I'll be in white people's business all the
I
time.
love this.
Because,
Yes.
like, I did it with Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds and Justin
Hmm.
Baldoni. So,
I love it. Yeah, because I saw that and I'm like, so I only saw it in passing because they're not someone who would normally be, I'm older than you. So they're not people who would normally come across my timeline. But what I did see appeared, I'm just like, it's two white women cosplaying blackness or what they think blackness is. Because these are some of the most ratchet assholes. Like, y'all are rich. Why are you
100%.
so ratchet?
100%. No, for sure. Um, yeah, I'll say, like, I knew Bad Baby because she was the Catch Me Outside girl from Dr. Phil.
I remember her. Uh-huh.
Yeah, and so I can't really say that I listen to like a lot of her music. I know a few songs, but I want to say they're 21 maybe, and Alabama's only 19,
Oh
and
wow.
I'm 31, so these are definitely like young kids stuff. But I've always kind of thought it was weird that Alabama Barker, and not to excuse like Bad Baby being a culture vulture, but I have always thought it was weird that Alabama like pretends that she's black because girl, you grew up in Calabasas. Like your dad is Travis Barker.
Yeah.
Like what is hood about you?
Yeah.
And I mean, at least with Danielle, like I could tell the girl was a little hood on, Dr. Phil. Like
Mhm.
like her whole attitude
That's the
and
accent. Yeah.
yeah, like I mean she was out there threatening her mom, like
Which is
uh
honestly the least hood thing in the world because I don't know a single black person that would talk to their mom like that.
sure, 100%. Um so and I've always thought like Bad Baby's flows like were a little better than, most white girls that I've heard rap. So I was like, okay. But hearing Alabama's quote unquote diss track, I was like, girl, what is this? Like, this is embarrassing.
Who was it? Which one of them was it that Kanye licensed a song out for them, like that she sampled?
So Bad Baby used Carnival. But
Okay.
then, so that's kind of where some of the drama started. And if you look at Bad Baby's video, she did her makeup like Alabama Barker. Yeah, so she came with it. But Alabama immediately posted a video of Kanye West saying like, "Oh, I didn't give permission. Like I just got off the phone with Travis and I don't want to be involved in this beef, blah blah blah." And I was like, "Alabama, so you just went and told your dad that like you're in this like rap beef with Bad Baby, and she also like turned off her comments. So like you can't comment on her shit." And it's like, do you know how this works?
No.
Like,
No.
and I mean, in Bad Baby's diss track, I mean, she had some good little one-liners.
Mhm.
Like pretty much calling, Courtney Kardashian Travis secondhand pick because he couldn't get with Kim.
Oh,
Like, well,
ouch.
you're not wrong. You're not
Ouch.
wrong.
Ouch.
Yeah. And pretty
Mhm.
much saying that like Alabama will fuck on anything. And it's like, oh,
And whose name did they say? They were somebody's grown ass man's name was in the middle of all of that too. Like somebody that
yeah, she dropped Tyga's name and someone named, I think, Jackie Boy I don't know who that is, but
I don't know, but Tyga's a known predator. Like
mhm.
we're clear that him and Kylie got together when she was underage and he was a grown man.
Right. Which, like, not to go too off track, but it's so funny that, like, Kylie is dating Timothy Chalamet. Because anyone that I talk to, we're always like, what do they talk about? Like, what do y'all have in common?
Yeah.
Because I think, like, Timothy Chalamet, I like him as an actor. Like, I think he's very talented. And so I'm just always kind of like, buddy, what's going on? And also,
Yeah.
can you imagine like Kylie, Timothy, and like Travis Scott going out to lunch and like talking about the kids?
Weird.
Yeah, and like, yeah, like you said, you were hooking up with Tyga when you were literally a minor. Like, huh?
A mess.
But we're
Just
in our clean
nasty.
girl aesthetic now.
Yeah.
That was when you were rebellious.
Yeah. And that's the trend, right? They all do it. Miley did it. Justin Timberlake did it. Like that's the, you know. So you use Black people to gain relevance, and then all of a sudden, I mean, even the clean girl is like just gross,
Right?
gross,
Yeah.
gross.
Although going back to the Bad Baby in Alabama drama, there was a video going around of because Travis Barker used to have a reality show, and I think it was on MTV. And this clip has been circulating of when Alabama's mom finds out that she's pregnant with her, and Danielle, Bad Baby, commented on the video, was like, should have gotten an abortion.
It was legal then.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Definitely. Yeah, that's also like wild because I'm pretty sure, and again, no shame because I support sex work and everything, but I'm pretty sure Alabama's mom was like a former Playboy bunny or something. So it's it's like, girl, you had a lot of stuff to like pick from.
Yeah,
So let's
relax,
just do it. Yeah.
relax. Oh my goodness. Okay, so last week we definitely talked about people and their obsessions with what's in trans and non-binary people's pants. And I think the consensus was it's weird, it's predatory, you're coming across as a pedophile, like get out of people's business. Well,
Mhm.
apparently people are unable to do that. So did you see the video of the woman, she's a stud, who was in the restroom and someone called the police and said there's a man in the restroom, and the police came into the women's restroom and were like arguing with this woman for 5 minutes. Have you seen this video?
I did see that. Yeah.
Like how first of all, there are now two actual men in the women's restroom,
Right. Mhm.
armed men
Literally.
in the
Yeah.
women's restroom, arguing with a woman about whether or not she's a woman. You know, I think about how, and we've touched on this before too, about how Black women specifically tend to be masculinized, or like, I don't even know if that's a word, but like people tend to associate Black women with masculinity, even if you're not like a, a stud, right?
Mhm.
I do not intend to drop my pants for to prove to a police officer that I'm a woman, but I just think about like what would I do if I go in the restroom and like what if that were me? I'm in the restroom, these two police officers follow me in there, like I'm just trying to pee. And
Mhm.
like at the end of the day, I personally would rather be in a restroom filled to the brim with trans women than with two male armed cops. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing?
Agreed. Agreed. Yeah, I don't think my anger issues could. That might be the day I go to jail cuz if you're grabbing on me like literally trying to see what's in my pants, I'm swinging on you cuz you are a predator and that is weird. That's weird behavior.
Yeah.
Like, and not that this would make it right anyways, but I'm kind of like, okay, well, you can stay in here YP. Will that make you feel better? Like that way you can see what the fuck I'm doing? Like you weirdo. Like you're a weirdo.
I, I've often said I don't understand why we can't just have restrooms. Like, why are restrooms even gendered anyway? Just have restrooms that
Right.
are, ceiling to floor walls and doors, so that men, because it's always men, right, can't,
Mhm.
put cameras in or can't, be looking under the door or whatever. But like, why can't people just go in the restroom, use it, wash your hands, and leave, no matter your
Right.
gender? I don't,
Literally.
yeah, I don't understand it. I don't
I've
understand the
never
obsession.
understood the fascination either. It's gross.
Yeah, but then that brings us over to speaking of predators. Andrew Tate has arrived in Florida.
Mhm.
What are you thinking about that?
Disgusting.
Where's he from?
I want to say he's from over in Europe somewhere. The
Yeah,
UK maybe.
yeah. Why is he here?
So this is my own little like conspiracy.
Hmm.
Um I think it's like to strengthen Trump's little army that he has
Mm,
because a lot of Andrew Tate and Elon Musk fans love Trump. And so I think like he's just using them both to like gain more and more followers for whatever's to come.
yeah. Is he meeting with them? Do you know?
I don't know. It wouldn't shock
Not
me,
publicly.
but it's gross that Andrew Tate is here because he was literally locked in Romania for. But Trump is so worried that that's what the Mexicans are doing. And it's like, well, you literally just freed one. So,
Well, and so you're another promise that Donald Trump made on the campaign trail that was that he was going to release the Epstein papers.
mm,
And I think I did see that something was finally released, like maybe yesterday or the day before. I'm assuming that it's a big nothing burger because I'm not seeing it all over my timeline. But did you see where, I don't remember the woman's name, but she was saying that the papers were going to be released like on Friday and that they were on her desk and she had read them and that she was going to release them, I think, on Friday. And then when the time came and they posted the link, and then it was that damn Rick Astley song, and they fucking Rickrolled us. Like, do you know what I'm talking about?
no.
I should have saved the damn link. They probably took it down. But they made it. Now, this is like official government website shit, right? They made it look like they posted the Epstein papers. And then when you clicked on it, it played the Rick Astley song. So, first of all, you think this shit is a joke? Like,
Right.
is it
Like,
funny to
that was
you? That's
funny.
first of all. Second of all, when you listen to the words that to that song, never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down. Like, are we sending messages? What's going on here?
I did hear that, like, yeah, Trump was supposed to release the Epstein files, but then I heard that, like, he kept kind of delaying it because he wanted to see something. And it's
Oh,
like,
hold on. It's Pam Bondi. Thanks, D. Pam Bondi was the lady that said she had the papers.
yeah. And it's like, well, why do you need to see them? Like, just release them.
Yeah, just release them. But
Yeah,
they're never going to release them because Donald Trump is all up and through there. And he's
absolutely.
never going to allow that to be released.
No.
Um, D says that Andrew Tate is from DC. Is that British nationality? I don't know what Brittany means.
Hmm.
Yeah. Thank you, D.
Yeah, your
Yeah.
sister
So
hitting us up too.
say what now?
Your sister's on TikTok hitting us up too.
Oh, hey, Chris. My favorite. She's literally my favorite person on the planet.
Ooh, but going back, I meant to bring this up when we were talking about veterans and stuff. I saw a TikTok, and it was this girl. She was like, "I'm going to a conspiracy party. Drop some of your favorite conspiracies." And one of them, it has stuck with me, and I've been telling everyone that I know about it, and they're like, "I don't know if that's necessarily a conspiracy," but because you come from a military family, right? So the conspiracy was this person thought that why we treat veterans so horribly when they come back is because they would be some of the first ones for the revolution and would know how to do it. And I was like,
That makes sense
yeah.
because they've been trained. Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Mhm,
And I always say just because it's a conspiracy doesn't mean it's not true. Um,
mhm,
Another theory though is that my sister always, she's so smart. She referred to military housing as environmentally modified hoods, is what she called it. And I've never thought of
mm,
it that way. But when you think about it, most people who join the military, you have, of course, like young white men who often join just because they want to be in infantry, they want to be able to get on the ground and kill people. But
mhm,
outside of them, most people join the military because they're trying to escape poverty.
mhm,
And so you have a lot of poor people from different places around the United States that have joined the military to escape poverty, not because they have some allegiance to this country and they want to protect it, because literally they're just poor and they couldn't afford college. And so they're going into the military. Um, so you've got a bunch of poor people in neighborhoods and environmentally modified because it's a bunch of poor people in neighborhoods, but of course you've got the military police, um, and you're afraid of losing your job. So, people, there's only so much that people are willing to do. Um, yeah, I just thought it was a fascinating take on military life. There's a lady, and Chris will know, there's a lady on TikTok who explores the military as a cult. That's also a fascinating take. And she might be onto something.
yeah, I would believe it.
Yeah. Conspiracy party sounds kind of intriguing.
Right?
Not gonna lie.
Yeah. I know, I
I'm
wish I would have saved the video, but that one just stuck with me, and I was like, "Oh, I'll remember that." Hey, I see you scrolling for a new podcast to follow, and let me recommend you one. I'm Impad, one of your co-hosts for Black Behind the Chair. And imagine this, Salon gossip so juicy it feels like you're actually in the chair, with pop culture takes that actually make a little sense. And a sprinkle of politics, because I know being a black, queer, fat woman in America is always up for discussion. So, what are you waiting for? Hit play on Black Behind the Chair and join the conversation. Trust me, you won't want to miss it.
What did you think of all of the fallout with Vance and Trump trying to double team Zelensky and like bully him, basically?
Over a suit, so embarrassing.
Well, yeah.
So
I
embarrassing.
love his response. He's like, well, my country's at war, so
Yeah,
maybe after the war I'll have time to put on a costume.
100%. Also, with Trump being like, oh, well, you want us to fund us and we don't have, any end in sight on this war, blah, blah, blah. Are you going to do the same for Israel's? We going to ask him for that money back?
Yeah. 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 But he's
Because,
not.
like,
He's got
that
his
was insane.
yeah.
Like, so embarrassing.
Yeah. But it was I appreciated, like, Zelensky's not here for the bullshit. And I just appreciated his ability to stay calm in the face of chaos and insanity. And he's just like, I don't remember exactly how he said it, but basically he's like, I don't care if you yell, you still have no
Yeah.
point. Like, what is your point?
Right. Well, and it's like none of them question what Elon is wearing when he's giving like a whole, debrief in the Oval Office.
And a baseball cap and t-shirt
Yeah, looking
with his
like
wife and
MAGA.
burgers.
Right. Well, do you remember when he was on some stage and he was like, I'm MAGA goth and like was being all the yeah, so dumb. And it's like, how old are you?
Yeah. And people keep trying to they're like, well, he's autistic, so blah, blah, blah. I know plenty of autistic people that are brilliant and smart and funny and not weird.
Yeah.
Like, being autistic does not give you a license to be a racist douchebag.
No. That's like when like especially, queer allies or whatever, they'll say, "Oh, I can't be racist. I'm gay." And it's like, "Mm, no, you can still be racist."
You can still be racist. You can still be homophobic.
100%, which is what we're seeing. I forget, did you ever watch like The Real World or like The Challenge?
So, The Real World, way back when it first came on, I watched the first couple of seasons.
Okay, so you might not know, there was a girl on there named Cara Maria. And
Mm-mm.
if you were to just Google her real quick, you
Mhm.
would definitely say like, "Oh yeah, she's in the LGBT like community." She's just like a weird, quirky. I know it's not a popular term, but she would probably call herself like a gypsy.
Mm.
Um, and so turns out she is like a big Trumpy, and she made a post about how she's a part of the LGB community. And she didn't put like the TQAI plus or and then she tried to double down and say like, well, I don't identify as those, but I and it's like, girl, shut up. Shut up.
Speaking of identity politics, I put Becky Joe on there. Have you seen her that drama with Becky Joe on Twitter?
No.
So Becky Joe is this she claims that she's a biracial woman. We'll call her a biracial woman. She is a white presenting biracial woman. So there was a black woman was hosting an event. She's a gamer. They're a gamer. They're playing like Call of Duty and like all of these things. And so she was hosting an event for black women only in honor of Black History Month. So this Becky Joe decided that she wanted to partake. Bless you.
Thank you.
And the black woman told her no. So she goes on Twitter and like is throwing a temper tantrum because she's biracial and she has a black father and she should be able to be involved in this tournament, right? So now there's all this war happening on Twitter. Black
Mhm.
men, of course, are running to her defense, like, a black woman is a black woman, yada, yada, yada. Y'all are just jealous because her hair and this, that, and the other, right? Turns out Becky Joe's father is not black, but Becky Joe's father is Indo Caribbean. He's Indian. He's not black.
Mm.
So she's not even like, you don't even have any black in you, baby. So you're literally the reason why this event was for black women only. Like, if you never have to, if whether you're biracial or not, if you never have to think about your race and the negative impacts of your race when it comes to literally anything, right? It doesn't matter if you have a Black parent or not. If you're white presenting, and especially if you're moving about the world as a white person and you only want to pull the I'm mixed card when you're trying to get into a space that doesn't include you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, bye. Bye.
Literally.
That is the whitest shit of all time. You did all of that to not even be mixed with Black at all. What are we doing?
Yeah, would it be like Rachel Dolezal or whatever her name is?
You said Rachel Dolezal? Yes.
Uh-huh.
And there was a woman in Indiana too. She went at the time, she went by the name Satchel Paige, which, if I'm not mistaken, is like a Black ball player from like the Negro Leagues.
Oh.
And she was in Indianapolis. And so I met her several times at different protests. And she just always rubbed me wrong. And I could never place it, but she never did anything to me. She never said anything to me, but she just always, just something about her just like really ground my gears, right?
Yeah.
Well, it turns out she's a fucking white woman from like Speedway, Indiana. Blue eyes, blonde hair, like the whole nine, cosplaying as a Black woman, and anointed herself as a leader in the Black Lives Matter movement in Indianapolis. Yeah, it was a disaster. So, yeah. Yep. And like not even mixed. I think she had a Black stepfather.
Oh my gosh. Well, going back to the Blake Lively hate, I found out that she did this commercial for L'Oreal, and this could be like hair inspired too, because L'Oreal. But I guess L'Oreal did this commercial like having celebrities, and they were telling you about their heritage and their background, blah blah blah. And Blake said that she was Cherokee. Turns out no
Not
Cherokee in her, and it's just like, what would make you say that?
white womaning.
And like, you also got married on a plantation.
Why would
Like,
you do
that's crazy work to say that you come from like Cherokee background, and
that?
then
Indigenous. Let's get
and
married
then
on a plantation.
yeah, like wow.
Peak
Okay.
whiteness.
Peak white for
Peak
sure.
whiteness. Yeah. Yeah. White people are often like men. If they don't have nothing else, they are going to have the audacity, okay? Every time.
Every
Every
time.
fucking time. Did you
Every
ever see the video of the girl who had been living her life like telling people that she was part Native American, like her grandmother was, half was biracial, half Native American, allegedly. And she did a DNA test and was 0% Native American, but had like 20% Nigerian blood or something.
Oh.
And she lost her shit. You would have thought that they told her she had brain cancer and she only had 2 days to live. She was not okay.
I think we've talked about it before on here, maybe not. Did you ever see the documentary called Welcome to Leith?
Mm-mm, mm-mm.
So it's about this white supremacist, Jason Cobb, I believe his name is, and he's from Springfield, Missouri, because why not? He and his little buddies wanted to go up to this small town in Leith. I think it was either in one of the Dakotas or Wyoming, somewhere up there. And he essentially wanted to turn this town into like a white supremacist like safe haven. And so he goes up there with his buddies, and I will say, like, Leaf put up one hell of a fight to make sure that did not happen.
Mm.
But like, it was a little tense because Leaf isn't a big town. Like, I think it was population of like 10 or something wild like that. Yeah, it was very small.
Yeah.
Uh so these two black women that had like a show kind of like, Ricky Lake or Jerry Springer, but a little more classy than like Jerry Springer.
Hmm.
But they
Jimmy
invited
Fallon.
yeah, they invited him to come out to do a DNA test. Because they were like, you're up here saying you're a white supremacist and like your race is the best race. Like, are you sure you're 100% white? And he was like, oh yeah, like I know where I come from, blah 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 blah. And they were like, okay, well, we're curious to see, because you know what they say about that one drop rule.
Mhm.
And so they do his DNA test, and he had like 14% like African something in there. And the two women lost it. They're like cracking up laughing, and
Yeah.
he's getting all mad and like freaking out. And one of them like puts her hands out, and she's like, welcome to the club, brother. And his face just like drops, and he's like, no, like this test is wrong, blah blah blah. And they're like, no, like you're black, by your own definition of like one drop rule. And
Mhm.
it's so satisfying.
Yeah.
Um, and he ends up going to jail for a little bit because like he literally tried to take over a town. But yeah, it's just like you don't even know yourself.
Yeah. 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 Literally. It's called Welcome to Leaf, like Leaf.
uh Leith, Leith, I
Ah,
believe.
Leaf. I will look it up. I love a good documentary. And we're coming to the end of our first hour, but while we're on that on that topic, I started a new book this week that was recommended by Book Talk.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Sky Full of Elephants. Have you heard of it?
No.
So, Sky Full of Elephants, I'm probably about midway through it right now. Sky Full of Elephants imagines a world where white people don't exist. So basically, it's present day America. And one day, like all of the white people in America, not in the world, just in America, like literally just walk to the nearest body of water and like walk in and they all drown. And so what's left is like what's left, right? And so the two main characters is this black man who was in prison at the time for raping a white woman, and his biracial daughter whom he'd never met. They're the two main characters of the story. It's fascinating. First of all, it
Interesting.
never occurred to me to even imagine a world with no white people. I've never done it, not one time. Like, I think I had just kind of always assumed that white people would just always be here. You know what I mean? Like, it just never crossed my mind. Like, what if white people didn't exist, right? But now my mind is going wild thinking of all of the possibilities, right? But like some of the things were like there were fewer microplastics and fewer like litter because all of the big corporations that are manufacturing those things no longer exist, right? No one's working there anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's fascinating. It's
That
fascinating.
does sound really, yeah, that does sound interesting.
It's called Sky Full of Elephants, and I hate that I don't know the author's name, but I will add it right here for the edit. So if you're part of the replay gang, it's right there.
You said Sky Full of Elephants.
Yes, that's the
Who's it
title.
by?
That's what I'm saying. I don't remember
Oh,
the author, but I'm going to put his name on the screen right here for the replay gang.
perfect.
So with that, we have come up on the end of our first hour, which is insane.
Woo woo.
Um,
Just yapping away.
I know, right? Why don't you go ahead and read us out of this first hour, and then for the people that are watching, we take a 10-minute break, and then we'll be back for our second.
That's a wrap, but the movement marches on. Black Behind the Chair isn't just a show, it's a statement. We're IMPAD,
And Peppermint Petty.
challenging you to be your most unfiltered self, both in the salon and beyond. Keep shaking the table and breaking the mold. Until next time.
Cheers.
Cheers. We'll be back, TikTok.